Well, let's head to the UK now, where an anti-Keir Starmer song has reached #1 in the official singles downloads chart, but the BBC has so far refused to play it. Let's have a listen to some of this anti-Keir Starmer song. Here it is.
It'll be freezing this Christmas without fuel at home. It'll be freezing this Christmas while Keir Starmer's warm. It'll be cold, so cold without fuel at home this Christmas.
Joining me from London is writer and commentator Esther Krakue. Esther, I love this song. It's going to be freezing at Christmas because, of course, the policies of Keir Starmer's government will make it that way. I think it's brilliant. Why won't they play it?
Well, the BBC still likes to feign some sort of political impartiality, even though this is the same organisation, remember, that refused to call Hamas a terrorist group, even though it's a designated terrorist group by the British government. But anyway, we won't go into that. But apparently, it would break the veneer of impartiality. Look, you know, there's so many similarities between that song and the Band-Aid song, when you were seeing sort of emaciated, impoverished Ethiopians, children during the famine of the 1990s. You could really very well see similar scenes here in Britain, and that's a reality that's making Keir Starmer very uncomfortable. Unfortunately, he's lost all political capital within record time. I mean, he has lower approval ratings than James Callaghan, which is really saying something. So, you know, the fact that the BBC aren't playing this is not going to remove the fact that that's how many people in Britain are actually feeling. And many people are genuinely concerned that we're going to see scenes of old people freezing in their homes, unfortunately.
I got to admit, I didn't particularly find that song all that tuneful. It's a bit of a dirge, but like I said, it's gone to #1. So what does that say about the way Keir Starmer is regarded? Or do you guys just have a different taste in music to me?
No, I mean, it really is as bad as it sounds. His approval ratings have plummeted. I mean, this is someone that had the audacity to berate Liz Truss and then basically managed to equal and then even surpass her abysmal record in the space of months. You'll notice that Keir Starmer has been found everywhere but Britain. He's apparently been doing this endless tour that doesn't involve the country that elected him. And it's for a reason. His popularity is through the floor. And to lose this much political capital in such a short space of time, you really have to wonder what exactly he's going to be able to do in the next 4 to 5 years, God forbid, if he actually stays as Prime Minister. And it really is that bad. The public have no time for Keir Starmer. They have no time for his government. He's basically broken virtually every promise that he made in his manifesto since coming into office. And it's really the worst kind of politics. It's the kind of politics of deception, where people can have no faith in the political institutions, where there are no consequences for lying. And people are going to be paying a really heavy price for it. Businesses have been whacked with a £40 billion tax. The economy, which was forecasted to grow, has now stagnated and is now in risk of a recession. Pensioners have had their winter fuel payments removed to the tune of, save £1.5 billion. But apparently we have £8 billion to spend on illegal migrants in hotels coming across on boats. It's a complete shambles. This whole premiership of Keir Starmer is pathetic.
See, Esther, this is why I love talking to you, because I start off depressed about my country, then I talk to you and I realise, you know what, it could be worse. Tell us about the UK government's newly appointed ambassador to the United States, because here in Australia we've got Kevin Rudd, right, as our man in the US, and we think he's a diplomatic disaster, but the UK's man in Washington might make our Kevin Rudd look not so bad. Lord Madison, I think is his name. He's the ambassador there. The Brits call him the Prince of Darkness.
Yes, he definitely is. Lord Mandelson, who is really quite a veteran in the Labour Party. He's an OG of the Blair generation. I find it incredible that Keir Starmer couldn't find anyone else to be ambassador. I mean, there's a certain character of the Reform Party that comes to mind, but apparently, you know, the best we could do as a country was appoint someone who had to resign from cabinet twice for doing political favours for his client groups, who had an expenses scandal that left him leaving in disgrace. Who called Donald Trump a bully and mercantilist. So, you know, of course, someone who insulted our future diplomatic partner is always a good person to put in that post. And this again goes to testify to the fact that Keir Starmer has no judgment. This is a man who thinks people like Ed Miliband, who again has never had a proper job in his life and is leading energy policy in this country, even though the UK has some of the highest energy prices in the developed world. This is someone he thinks is a good idea to appoint into cabinet. Someone like David Lammy, again, had only 3 years of work experience before entering politics, doesn't know what he's doing, has butchered the Chagos Islands deal, not once, but twice, also called Trump a fascist sympathizer. We have Rachel Reeves, who is the chancellor of this country, who's not running a corner shop, mind you. She's actually running this country's economy. And we don't even know her employment history. She lied about being an economist, allegedly, at the Bank of England and the Bank of Scotland. She's apparently massaged elements of her employment history and has somehow managed to find her way into parliament that way. He thinks these people are good picks, which is terrifying for this country because we have to stomach another 4.5 years of this man. Lord Mandelson, I have no doubt, will probably not be Trump's favorite. And Trump doesn't forget these things. I mean, Keir Starmer has a bit of a trump card in the royal family in the sense that they're hoping Trump's sympathies towards King Charles and Prince William will smooth things over, even though, you know, a pock-faced Keir Starmer has to admit, even though he's a Republican, has to admit the value of the royal family in that regard. But I don't think it'll be enough to smooth things over. All it will take really is a phone call from Nigel Farage to really sink any of Keir Starmer's plans with Britain. That is how low Trump's administration views Keir Starmer and his acolytes.